exciting. We're going to do a discussion with a good friend of mine, Pastor Stanley from New York. He's at the moment working in KCC as a director. We've known each other for like 6-7 years now. 7 years now. We were co-speakers at a conference called Fire Conference, and ever since our friendship has grown stronger in the Lord. There's so much that I've picked up from this man, so I thought it'll be just great if I could share this interview with you, and I'm sure we'll pick up some things new. First of all, welcome. I'm glad we could do this.
I'm glad I'm here.
When did you, what age did the Lord call you out?
Actually, I started working in the church, I guess at a lower level, assisting the pastor when I was maybe 10th, 11th grade. But I shifted to assisting and teaching at a church when I was a second-year student in college. So focus for church became very strong at that moment.
Okay. Wait, but you got to plant few churches too?
Actually, when I was in college, I was working at a local church in the Bronx, the northern part of New York City, and it was there where my desire to do all things God, I guess, whether it's church planting, traveling, ministering, became a huge focus. And it was by 2004 that I began to see the impact the local church can have on a community, especially after being an evangelist and traveling, and then somehow shifting gear and working just in a city, and that to a local part of a city. And so around 2005, I got connected with a minister by the name of Aaron Cole, whose heart really was to reach out to the people of New York City. And since I happen to be born and raised in New York City, I too had that same passion and heart. And he was looking for someone to reach out to college students in the local church. And so in 2005, along with a few others, a church was planted in Manhattan.
What would you advise young leaders who are stepping into church ministry? How do you, because I see some people who are discouraged that they did not have a church of 5,000 people overnight. What would you advise?
The first thing I would advise anyone, especially with church planting, is this. One, you are a part of a noble cause, which is the cause of Jesus Christ, the greatest cause you can ever be a part of. But if there's anything we know from the New Testament, after the Gospels, is that Christ loves the church. And the way Christ decided to expand his kingdom was the local church. He could have used any other method, any other plan, but yet from the book of Acts to Revelation, it's about Christ establishing the church, his bride marrying the church, and reestablishing, renewing the earth so he could be with the church. And all throughout the New Testament, it's about the church. So the first thing I would tell someone that's interested in church planting is you are part of the New Testament church.
Right.
And that's how God chooses to expand his kingdom. Whether you're an evangelist, whether you're a prophet, whether you're a teacher, it is important that you're connected with the local body of believers who pour into you, who you're accountable to, who make sure that you're growing personally there. And from there, if God is calling you to plant churches, that is an amazing calling, because you are part of God's strategy, what we see, through men like Peter and Paul and James. And so the first thing is, congratulations on that. That's amazing. I'm so excited that you're doing that. But the second thing I would say at the same time is, with any calling, there's a high price to pay at all times. And for Christians, when Christ says, carry the cross, it is the most gruesome, painstaking image, but yet the most freeing and fulfilling image we have. It's heavy. Sometimes people don't realize that church planting isn't just going out, putting up a building and seeing 8,000, 5,000 come, which I believe if you do have that, that's amazing. But it is someone who God has given the heart to build relationship, who is a student of God's word, who stays true to the message of Jesus Christ and doesn't waver. And it's sometimes important to know that you'll see pastors who who have big churches. You'll see pastors on television, you'll see pastors who have written books, and you'll get caught up in that dream sometimes of seeing them where they are now.
Right.
And not realizing where they were.
They had a past.
That they had a past, and that they had to grow, they had to build, they had to be on bended knee, that they had to pray. And it's amazing because in a book written by Pastor Jim Cimbala, when he was talking about the starting of Broken Tabernacle, which thousands of people, Broken Tabernacle has put its finger on the map with winning Grammy Awards for their choir, having this massive prayer movement, Tuesday night prayer. But I was reading his book about the start of the church and about this movement of prayer, and how that church was simply started on him praying. How, I think there was even an example he gives of someone stealing the offering money.
Okay.
At one time when the church was they didn't have money to pay the rent, and someone had stolen the offering money. But he was faithful to the mission because he knew that the local church is what it would take to see the people in that city transformed. You know, anyone can go and preach, but it takes a church to see that person from stage one to stage death, you know, through their growth process. And so when you are planting a church, you need to realize, are you committed to the cause of Christ, and are you committed to the people of Christ? And if you are committed, you have to realize you have to be committed to every stage of their life.
What was your great challenge in your pastoral?
The greatest challenge I had, I have to admit, is you would see people come to the church, and you were so excited, and one Sunday I'm preaching, and you see the person, and the next Sunday you don't see them. And it would bother me, because for the first time I cared about that person. I wanted to know what happened. Did something go wrong with them? Are they okay? Are they out of town? You know, it might have been something simple as it was a birthday party and they couldn't make it to church, but all of a sudden I realized within the first month of church planting that I genuinely cared for the individual. And that was the biggest eye-opener for me, because for me, I always thought I would preach and so many would come and it would just keep multiplying and multiplying. And for the first time, an individual person's problem affected me. Their joy became my joy, their pain became my pain. And that was something that was new, and that was something that was so exciting, because I understood when Jesus wept that it was personal. His ministry was personal. That Jairus' daughter raising up from the dead, it was personal. And ministry became personal to me for the first time. And that was amazing. That was exciting.